To end Black History Month, check out this cool video.
At the intermediate school, students and staff are asked to think about and reflect on what Black History Month means to them. What does it mean to me? Pride, gratitude, and acknowledging how the lives and struggles and sacrifices of past and present pioneers have continued to pave a path for Black Americans and immigrants of all nationalities to achieve success despite racial and discriminatory obstacles. What does Black History Month mean to you?
When I think of Black History Month, I think of success that our ancestors had, like Rosa Parks and Louis Armstrong. America is free now because of them. So now instead of white people getting all the good stuff and black people getting the leftovers, we're all free. Black people and white people get the same respect.
I love Black History Month because it reminds me of my ancestors that my mom told me about when I was 5 years old.
I believe it was not right for people to own slaves and how people are judged just because of the color of their skin. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks should be highlighted for their important contributions and by extensions to our American history that cannot be overstated. These and other African Americans have stood up to what they knew was wrong, and our civil rights leaders made sure to get those laws changed. Now we all have the same rights as everyone else. I consider Black History Month to be important because it is a month to learn about our history if you don't already know about it. And if you do know about it, you get to learn more about it.
What is Black History Month? It's American history. From the transporting of African slaves to America in the 1800s, to the contributions and culture that has helped to shape the American people.
African American men and women's achievements have impacted our lives today because if it wasn't for certain events in Black history, the world would not be what it is today. For example, if it wasn't for Martin Luther King and his peaceful protest and his random acts of kindness, the world would not be what it is today because it would probably be segregated and there would probably still be a lot of racially motivated crimes.
Dr. Luther King Jr. was the one who fought racism, but sadly, Dr. Luther King Jr. got shot, and this day we celebrate Dr. Luther King Jr.
Dr. Martin Luther King has inspired me that all colors could be together, and I find that very significant.
Rosa Parks was a civil rights leader. She was born February 4 in the 1830s in Alabama under the name Rosa Louise McMurray. Rosa Parks was the first Black person to sit in the front of a bus when that was not allowed.
If it wasn't for Rosa Parks and her boycott, which everybody refused to get on the bus until everyone was treated equally with the same respect, the world would probably still be segregated.
Harriet Tubman was born into slavery in the USA in around 1822. She freed 500 enslaved people in the Underground Railroad.
My last example is George Washington Carver. If it wasn't for George Washington Carver and his amazing discoveries, we would not know all of the uses for soybeans, peanuts, and sweet potatoes. He discovered over more than 3,000 uses for all of those and a lot more. And he was also the first African American to have a park named after him. Now do you see why African Americans' actions impact our lives today?
And if you don't know who Maya Angelou is, you should look her up. She said this: you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have.
Black History Month is a time to represent the people like Rosa Parks and like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the GOAT, Bob Marley.
Black History Month is celebrated from the 1st of February until the end of the month. But this wasn't always the case. In 1926, Carter G. Woodson, who we call the father of Black history, launched Negro History Week in the second week of February to promote and educate people about Black history and culture. In 1975, President Ford declared Negro History Week as an observance of Black History Week. And in 1976, it was expanded from a week-long to a month-long observance of Black History Month.
When I reflect on Black History Month, I reflect immediately on the horrible treatment that my people endured during slavery. During my time as a middle school and high school student, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy Sr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Robert F. Kennedy Sr. were all assassinated fighting for human rights. Although I can honestly say that I never personally endured confrontations or harm at school, I also never felt that I got much help to be a successful student. Fast forward to today as an adult, I have had my share of blatant discrimination, even in the neighborhood where I live now. Also, being watched closely during shopping trips and not getting equal service in restaurants and hotels during vacation. I still feel the pain and suffering of my ancestors. But I believe it's time to remember, celebrate, and honor the history and accomplishments of Black people like Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, and Barack Obama, our first Black president. We now have the freedom to embrace, expose, and reward Black people who have been subjected to negative stereotypes and misinformation and recognize the importance of racial equality. Thank you.